Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This video is easy ways of going more eco-friendly. Sometimes it can be really scary to go fully zero waste, and I believe that's almost impossible unless you are living with a tribe in a jungle or somewhere else, I don't know. But it's almost impossible to be truly zero waste. So this is easy ways of being a bit more eco-friendly. You don't have to do them all. I know I don't always do them all for sure. So you just like trying to add some stuff into your life that will help the planet a bit more, because we know this is all going to shit. So the first one, I think it is something you can moderate a bit more. Sometimes we tend to go for a lot of imported stuff, and we could maybe buy a bit more local if we are able to, because fruits and all the things that come from tropical places, they have to go through a long journey just to get to us. So if you could avoid buying imported goods, even stuff made elsewhere, it doesn't have to be necessarily food, it could be anything really. That's why buying local, from local small business, like anything really, it doesn't have to be food. It could be drawings, could be anything that you want to buy for yourself. Maybe try to look in the small business next to you. The next one is buying in bulk. If you have a zero waste store near you, and I know sometimes they can be a bit more expensive than buying them in plastic, which is just crazy. But if you can, you could just maybe buy some stuff in bulk, which will save a lot of plastic from going into landfills. If you can also buy in the grocery store that you usually go to, you can also try to buy in bulk. Not really in bulk, I guess. Well, instead of just like buying a ton of stuff, like a really big bag of potatoes. When I go to Aldi, for example, I just bring like 4 potatoes, and I bring them just like separate, and sweet potatoes as well. So I have those options that don't come in packaging. I buy bell peppers also without packaging in Aldi, and bananas. Some stuff you can get without packaging. Others, it's really hard, because if they are especially imported food, they are a bit more fiddly. Some get wasted really easily, so they have to come in packaging so they can sustain more time. But if you can, just buy without packaging. The next thing, I'm sure this is one of those things that you always hear when you're in school, like name stuff that you can do to save the planet. Turning things off when you're not using them is the best way you can to save energy for yourself and for the planet. If you're not using something, just turn it off. I know, for example, in the UK, you can just turn the outlets off. So if you can just turn them off or just unplug them, that would be the best option. Especially right now, it's Christmas time, and a lot of people I know, they're just like going crazy with the Christmas lights, and that's a lot of energy that is going to be wasted for no reason. But I know it makes some people happy, so maybe just turn them on when it's nighttime and then turn them off when you go to sleep. I don't know why, but I guess some people just leave them on 24/7, which is just unbelievable. I don't know why you do that. If you're sleeping, why you need the lights on, you know? Next thing is going for LED lights. I'm sure a lot of people are already doing this anyways, but it does save energy for you and also better for the planet. So if you can, you should switch your light bulbs to LED when all of them die. And also switch your energy provider for a more sustainable one. If you have the possibility of switching your provider into one that has 100% renewable energy, that would be the best. I know this is a really hard topic because it's not really the eco-friendly. There are some risks to it, and it's also a waste because you have to produce those things, you know. It's not like they just appear out of nowhere. The solar panels, you have to build them, and there's a lot of waste going into it. I'm sure they're not recyclable. So there's just so many things that you have to look for. But at the moment, it is the best option. So if you can, switch your provider for a more eco-friendly one. The next one, I'm sure people will be like, I knew you were gonna say that if you know me well. Yes, eating less meat, dairy, and eggs, it's a great way to be more eco-friendly. I'm going to pull some sources because I didn't want to just be throwing stuff out there. So I'll be reading some sources and I'll leave them in the comments for you to look at, because it just makes sense if you want to look into the whole article. So food is responsible for 26% of the greenhouse gas emissions. Of those 26%, 31% is from livestock and fish farms. And then 16% of land that is producing those greenhouse gas emissions. 16% is for, well, 16% of those 26%. It's just really confusing, but I'll leave the article anyways. What he means is that a lot of the gas emissions is being produced especially by cows. Cows produce a lot of gas emissions. If you don't know, they fart a lot and they produce more gas emissions than cars, which is just crazy. But it's true. If you can avoid eating less meat, that would be the best option for you. I'll just bring also some more stuff, because if you don't know about the Amazon rainforest is just being destroyed at the moment, and the cause of it is actually meat. So the majority deforestation in the Amazon basin since the 1960s has been caused by cattle ranchers and land speculators who burned huge tracts of rainforest for pasture. Brazilian government data indicates that more than 60% of the forest land ends up as cattle pasture. But conversion to cattle pasture isn't limited to Brazil. In the 1970s and early 80s, vast tracts of rainforest in Costa Rica, Honduras, and El Salvador were burned and converted into cattle pasture lands to meet American demand for beef. So they basically burning the whole rainforest down just to make more space into growing food for cattle. And a lot of people are really concerned about but soy isn't sustainable because it is the reason why they are destroying all the rainforest, Amazon. Well, it is soy, but it isn't for us. It is for the cattle. So instead of just giving the food to all of those animals that shouldn't even have been there, we could just produce in that land. We could produce food for us, and we're saving a ton of land just by producing food directly to humans and not to feed animals that would feed us. Because the thing is, you would save a lot of water as well just by cutting meat, because meat, just 1 kilogram of boneless beef needs 15,400 liters of water, and that's just 1 kilogram of beef. So we just wasting land, we wasting food, food, and then we wasting water just to produce beef. So it's not all. So it's also about the thing about killing animals that don't need to be killed, but it's not just that, is also the way that is affecting our environment in every aspect. So cutting down meat, even if it's just 1 meal per week that you don't have meat, that's great. That's how you start, and then if you can, just build up from that. The next thing is not wasting food. Food is so much is so precious, and if people are just buying it to then go to waste, that's so crazy for me. 7.3 millions of tons of food is wasted in the UK every year. So that's just 1 year, and they're wasting this much of food, and it doesn't make sense. Only buy food that you know you will eat, and that don't buy too much that you won't be able to finish before it's due to go bad, So just buy the food that you'll be able to cook, you'll be able to eat, and try not to waste food. If you don't like it, give it to the dogs. I don't know. If you just don't like the taste of it, just give it to dogs. Or just sometimes I don't like the taste of something. For example, we also made bread and it was too salty, so we couldn't eat it as it was, but we just made it into crumbs, and then we keep adding to soup and to other dishes. So we didn't put the bread in the trash and bin just because it wasn't good. We just made it and turned it into something else. Sometimes the rice is just too wet and it's just not how you want it, but you can make little rice cakes. So you just make them with other stuff, and then you can make new food out of the food that you didn't like. The next thing is compost. So if you have space for it, it would be really good if you just put all of the food waste in the compost bin, because then you'll be producing really good dirt for your plants. So instead of going into the landfill in open air, and you could just have it at home, if you know what I mean. So I can't really go really deep into the subject, but if you want to know more about it, there's just so many videos. You can even have a little one if you have a small space, or you can have a big one if you have tons of land, and it is the best way to nourish your plants, and is also really good for the environment. So win-win-win. Also, on the subject of composting, gardening, grow your own food if you can. Well, this is not World War II. I'm not telling that you need to grow your own food or we're going into a shortage. Is nothing like that. But if you can grow some stuff in your garden, that'll be great. For example, I'm not really into flowers, and I think if I had a big garden, I would more likely use that space for food, because at least you're just nourishing something and then you can eat it. So, for example, there's some food that you can buy and just cut the top off, like carrots. If you just cut the top off and put it in the dirt, it will grow into a new carrot, so you don't even have to buy seeds. You can just regrow the food that you've already bought. Also, not going into much detail, but you can look that up. There's tons of ways to do it. So you can regrow garlic, onions, carrots, potatoes. There's just so many stuff, and then you only have to buy them. And sometimes we forget about the food, like I've said about the waste, but instead of just going bad, you can just plant it and then you have new potato. The next thing is using more eco-friendly products. This comes into every aspect of your life, into the beauty aspect, into the kitchen, bathroom, anything that you use products on. There are more eco-friendly options for that. I wouldn't really advise you to make your own beauty products. Some people don't know what they're doing, so don't do that. But for cleaning products, you can use lemon, baking soda. There's just so many stuff. There are some really good recipes. I also look for in Pinterest for tons of eco-friendly cleaning products, recipes that you can make yourself, and then it just does the same. So why would you spend more money and also like waste the environment? You can just make your own. The next thing is swapping products that come in plastic packaging into a more eco-friendly option. I have made a video all about that. I'll leave it in the cards and in the description down below. It's all the eco swaps that I've made and stuff that I haven't yet, because I am still finishing some products. But if you can, going into a packaging free or plastic free deodorant, like dish soap, anything. You can buy like shampoos. I have made videos about that as well. I use shampoos in bars. Some people are really getting into it. So if you can, just switch some products up from like packaging to packaging free. That's the best option. If you have any more ideas, leave them in the comments down below. I'm sure there's so many things. On the energy, I also remember that you have to make sure that your house is really well insulated, because if not, then you could just be having the heater on and the heat is going away because your house is not well insulated. So there's just so many things. If I just keep talking, I'll remember more stuff. If you have them, more suggestions, just leave them in the comments down below. And I have more my videos that talk about more eco-friendly stuff. If you want to check those out, I'll also leave them in the description. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye!